Hi, it's Diederik Gelderman here, and welcome to video 2 in developing your awesome dental month. So last week we talked about all the marketing you can do and should do in order to get your dental month happening, better than ever before. Today we're going to talk about the next component, which is training the team and having the team on board. Now, before we go anywhere on today's video, I just need to reiterate something that's really important, and it's the fact that your client needs to hear something between 7 and 14 times. In Australia now it's 14.3 times before they believe it, understand it, accept it. So that's anything new. So you need to build into your marketing and into your team training a system, a process, a way by which your client hears something again and again and again and again, so that they come to accept it as the way things are done around here, type of thing. So you can't say exactly the same thing every time. You need to belabor the point in a nice, kind, gentle and different way until you get that point across. So when you're training the team, your team need to understand that Mrs. Smith, you need to have your pet's teeth cleaned. Mrs. Smith says no, that is a no is not a no. The client's only heard it once. You've got another 13 times that they've got to hear it before they are going to come on board. 80% of yeses will only occur after the 7th time the client's heard something. Why do you think Coke and Pepsi and car places have McDonald's have all these incessant ads on TV and on Netflix and wherever else you get ads these days, on your phone, etc., etc.? Because they are working on that, 14 times repeater. So just need you to understand that. Second thing that's really important about today is if you go to your team and say, we need to get our pet dental health income up to 10% of production, or we need to get 50 dogs in the door this month, or whatever it happens to be, if you focus on money or outcomes for you, outcomes for your team, outcomes for your practice, they will not comply. This has got to be all focused on and about better patient outcomes. This has got to be focused on doing things better for the pet. It can't have anything to do with outcomes for you, your team, or the practice. If you focus on that, focus on money, focus on all those sorts of things, KPIs, then this isn't going to work. So you focus on patient outcomes, and then you can most certainly say, let's set a target. We want to help 100 patients this month have better teeth. You can phrase it that sort of way, but it's got to be all about improved patient outcomes. That's really important. So you need to train the team in why dentistry is important. And as I say that, you may be looking at me and say, hey, hang on a minute. Everyone understands, pet dental health disease is really important, and it causes decrease in pet life expectancy and all those sort of things. My question to you is, with the same sort of look on my face as you just gave me, is really, are you sure they all understand that? Or are you just hallucinating that? Yes, you were told at university, and you know it and hear about it when you read journals and go to conferences and whatnot, but all your team members have the same understanding of pet dental health disease. Because what I see as I'm travelling around practices all over the world, that is not the case. The next thing is to ensure that your whole team are grading teeth the same way. What is a grade 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc.? And I'll bet you that your team is not consistent in their grading. I'll be very surprised if they are. There's not many practices that can say it. If you are one that's got consistent grading, congratulations, fantastic. I admire and applaud you. But again, there's few and far between the practices that I see that get the grading the same. I'm going to suggest also that your team start to use a consistency of phrase. Yes, everyone is going to say the same thing, but they're going to say it slightly different ways. But I'm going to suggest that you talk about what they say and how they say it to engage the client. So just saying, oh, that's pus. So what? It's a fact. It's pus. Big deal. The client doesn't understand that pus means pain. So go back what we talked about last week. Don't work with logic, work with emotion. So pus means pain. Red gums means they're sore. Bad breath means, rotten mouth. And it's up to you whether that last phrase is something that's acceptable to you or not. Everyone has different turns of phrase and different ways of saying things. So something that I may say may sound hokey to you and something, and you'd never use it, and vice versa. So, but have a staff meeting in which you discuss the phrases and terms and whatnot that you can use and choose to use and are going to use consistently. Another couple of phrases that I hear that work really well are, would you allow your pet to sleep on your pillow? Would you allow your pet to kiss you? So they're phrases that aren't comfortable for me, but there's people I know that use those phrases consistently and very, very happy using them and say that gives them really good outcomes. The other thing and in training the team is to tie dental disease into patient longevity, good health, renal disease, pulmonary disease, and like just on that, as a matter of fact, did you know? And I'm asking you. I'm not talking to your clients. I'm talking to you. Did you know that the latest research in people shows that aneurysms and as in people are getting more and more aneurysms all the time? That they find that most of the bugs in an aneurysm are from dental origin, and one of the most recent thoughts about why people are getting aneurysms is it's related to bad teeth or dental disease or periodontal disease. Now, did you know that? I mean, my dentist hammered me about it, not too long ago. So that's the sort of thing that's really interesting your clients. So that's the sort of thing you should share with your team. And the other thing is in human medicine, if you're going to a plastic surgeon to have a bum cheek implant or a calf implant or whatever it is that you want, any form of cosmetic surgery, or any form of knee replacement or ankle replacement or anything else like that, that most surgeons will demand that you have your teeth, fixed in inverted commas beforehand. I mean, I've had 2 knee replacements in May last year, and it was one of the things my surgeon was really absolutely hammered me about, and I've got reasonably good teeth anyway. And then my dentist has since then made sure that I come in more often than normal to ensure that I don't have any periodontal disease, because they're both worried about implant seeding and stuff like that. So when your team understands that sort of stuff and when your clients understand that sort of stuff, it really adds emotive weight to the conversation about dental disease. Now, next of all, it comes to what's in it for me. We've all got this radio station playing in our head, and it's an FM radio station, and it's called WIIFM. And the radio station is What's in It for Me? WIIFM, What's in It for Me? So whenever you're talking to your client about anything at all, nutrition for your pet, dental disease for your pet, senior blood screens, vaccination, desexing, pet insurance, whatever it happens to be, that radio station's playing in their head and they're asking themselves, what's in this for me? So that's something to talk about with your team. What are you going to tell your client is in it for them? And one of the biggest things, in my opinion, that's in it for the client is a happier pet that fits in with their family and lives with their family healthily, happily, and longer. Okay, so most pets these days are part of the family. They're part of the extended family. That's why people have pets. And so if we can help extend that longevity and make it a happier, longer, more pain-free life, etc., etc., that's a really good radio station to play in that client's head as you're discussing that disease process. Also remember, we have this thing called features, benefits, feelings. Features, benefits, feelings. So 90% of our decision making is based on the feelings we get from doing something. So we buy the red car, and we might say we buy a red car because it looks pretty or because it goes faster or whatever. But we buy the red car because of how good we feel when we're standing at the traffic lights and people are looking at us and admiring the car and admiring us. So that applies to pets as well. There are logical reasons as to why the pet should have the teeth cleaned. They're the features. There's logical reasons why the pet should go on TD or you should brush its teeth or whatever it happens to be. Then we have the benefits that arise from that. But ultimately what the decision is based on are the feelings that ensue when you've got a pet with a great healthy mouth that can sleep on your pillow, that you can kiss, that lives a long happy life, etc., etc., etc. So think of that radio station, and also think of the features, the benefits, and the feelings, and start having those conversations with your client around that. And this is a part of the team training. So as I said, and I'll just read out what I've noted here, clients don't care about bad teeth as such. They care about how teeth and bad teeth affects their relationship with their pet. Smelly breath, longevity, family pet, which is actually a family member now doing family things comfortably and for as long as possible. So a couple of things and then we're done for today. Have a talk to your team and develop phrases and tasks for the conversations that happen with the clients, and also really carefully look at the handover procedure. So when the receptionist hands the client over to the vet, when the vet hands the client back to the receptionist, when the pet is admitted, so whether that's from the vet handing the client over to a nurse to do the admit, or whether the client comes in, sees the receptionist, is handed over to the nurse who then just does the admit, and the discharge and everything else. So what is everyone going to say around those handover times? They're the critical times when the ball can be dropped. And if you want to use a football example, whatever form of football or whatever form of hockey or whatever it is that you follow, if the client is the ball or if the client is the puck, when that ball or that puck is passed from one player to another, that's when it's most likely to be dropped. And do you want to be the player that's dropping the ball at that stage? This is where the handover needs to be developed and done really with elegance. And the couple of other things that should happen as well is the vet should be examining the teeth at every exam, and the vet should be making notes on the record about the teeth at every exam. If the vets are too busy, then have a dental queen or a dental nurse, and the vet can say, great, we've talked about the cat bite abscess, or we've talked about the sore toe, or whatever it is. I've noticed Fluffy's got dental disease. I'm going to hand you over to Julie. She's our dental queen. She's an expert in all this, and she's going to talk you through that process. So that's a really good way to do a handover to a nurse if the vet's too busy to have that conversation. But every pet needs to have the lip flipped. Every pet needs to be examined and recorded, dental disease recorded by the veterinarian, or passed over to someone else to do that. And then the last thing that I want to mention is that a plaque disclosure or a UV light like a Hills lamp needs to be used at every single examination, because 60% of our clients prefer to code and store information visually. So you can tell all you like, but you know, there's that old phrase, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and when a client sees that stuff fluoresce or sees the plaque disclosure, that's when it really gets ingrained into their neurology, and they're going to make the right decision to have that pet's teeth treated by you. And I see so many practices that have the plaque disclosure, have the Woods lamp, have the fluorescent light, they've got whatever it is, and it is not used. And if it's not used, it's not going to impact the client. So that's it for today's video. I hope you got lots of ideas about that, about how to train your team. So now you need to train your team again. Document what you're doing and how you're doing it, so that next year you can roll this out again exactly the same way and you don't have to recreate the wheel. I'll look forward to catching up in video 3 next week, in which we talk about building the value of this whole process for your client. See you then.